when I first arrived in the mission, it was just the Massachusetts Boston mission, which was basically all of Massachusetts and a little bit of New Hampshire and a tiny bit of Vermont. And then after a few months in June, we inherited the Connecticut Hartford mission. And so that included Rhode Island and Connecticut, basically the whole of those two states. And with it came about 80 or so more missionaries. So we were at like 160, 170 when I was there in Massachusetts. We bring in 80. So now we're kind of like bursting at the seams. Like mission president's kind of overwhelmed with so many people. He kind of separated everyone, so like anyone who's in the Massachusetts mission is going to be serving with someone from the Connecticut mission to try to build unity right away. Stakes, I think there are 9 stakes, at least when I was there, between the whole New England area. There's one temple, the Boston temple. They're in the process of building the Connecticut, the Hartford temple. And let's see, languages in the mission. There was English, of course, Spanish, which there was a few Spanish wards and a few Spanish branches as well. Then there's Portuguese, and there's 1, maybe 2, 3 Portuguese branches. And then Haitian Creole, and there was 1 ward in downtown Boston, and then a few branches throughout the mission for Haitian Creole. And then we had Cambodian. And Cambodian was a lot bigger back in the early 90s. That's when it was like really booming with baptisms and members, and there's 3 branches at one time throughout the mission. But by the time I got there, and I think even before like the year 2000, all of them had collapsed because there just wasn't enough support, enough priesthood leaders mainly to keep the branch going. And so they kind of just fed into whatever wards that were there. And that was hard because there wasn't like that set place where like I was going to be able to speak Cambodian, which is awesome for the Spanish missionaries. No matter what, on Sunday they have church in Spanish, and plus there's tons of Spanish people for them to meet and to talk with throughout the week. But with Cambodian, is like maybe we would run into a few here and there, but like you come to church and you have like 1 or 2 members, usually women over the age of 50, who are members of the church or still active at least. That was a shocker. I was thinking I'd be called there for the Cambodian, but when I got there, like Lowell is the highest, I guess, populated for active members of that speak Cambodian. There's only 9 active women in the church, and so like we go to dinner at their houses quite a bit just to be able to speak Cambodian, and they loved us as well because we were people that spoke Cambodian. We could teach the gospel to them in their native language, and they really loved that. Massachusetts and Rhode Island especially are very diverse, lots of different cultures, lots of different languages. So even though those 5 are the mission languages, there was tons and tons of other languages that like I'd run into. I ran into Russians, into lots of different Africans from all over Africa. Let's see, Greeks, lots of different Asians, like Chinese and Thai and Vietnamese, Laotian. So very diverse, really, really fun because you get a little taste of a lot of different cultures. And that's what kind of influenced me the most, is because like I got a taste of these things and I'm like, oh, I want to learn more. And so that's why my plans after the mission is looking into like global business to get to know people better, like to see, okay, like I saw this, but why do they do things this way? Or why is it like this? So I want to like learn more about their cultures, learn more about people. It's really cool to see how different we all are, and yet know that we are all brothers and sisters, so that we're all children of God. And I think that was very apparent in my mission, being in that like melting pot.